Hi, I'm George and welcome back to the channel. This is my 2018 Hiker Highway Deluxe camper, and this is Upgrades and Mods version 2, the electrical system. So stick around and we'll talk more about that. One of the first things that we did isn't the solar panel, so I don't know why we're up here. But anyhow, all right, so back to where we actually started is in the tongue box. When we first bought this thing, as I had mentioned before, this is a 2018, we're in 2025. I bought this a few months back. The power system in here from Hiker was just outdated. It literally had a connector on the side here for a 40-watt Zamp solar panel with a solar controller built into it that barely topped off the battery. And that battery was a deep cell marine battery. I think previously there was a regular lead acid battery in there because there was sulfuric acid in there that was corroding the steel and the aluminum. So what we did is the first thing that we did, took out all the electric that the previous owners put in, took out all the electric that Hiker put in. So battery came out of here. Now this tongue box is strictly for storage, and we moved the batteries to the back. Let's go take a look at that. All right, so into the back, and as you'll see, if you can look in here, we've updated the deep cell marine battery with lithium iron phosphate from Watt Cycle. This is their mini 100 amp hour battery. And as you can see, the mount that I built for it is going to hold 2. So we'll have 200 amp hours. And that's the first thing that we did, was move the battery system back here. I like that better because I can really use that storage up front. And then the next thing that we did was solar. That's what we want to do. We want to do solar next, and now I'll explain how we all put it together. Okay, so here we are back up at the top. You look familiar. And we were talking about this earlier, and these are the Renogy flexible solar panels, 100 watts a piece. These are the newer ones. My original intention was to mount these directly to the roof of the camper. That would have involved some adhesive and either drilling these grommets into the camper, or I even thought about doing like threaded posts, gluing the threaded posts down and screwing them down there. All in all, I did not want to damage the roof. If I ever had to replace these, and we know how quickly the technology changes with this stuff, next year I'd be replacing them with something else. So what I opted to do was build a wooden platform and mount them to this roof rack. I was able to screw those down with stainless steel hardware into the wood. I have one vise underneath here, so it's not just in the plywood, it's the plywood in the wood. I used stainless steel U-bolts and bolted those through with their plates. This thing isn't going anywhere. We took it on a trip recently. Had no issues with it whatsoever. There is a little silicone underneath of it and silicone along the edge to keep water from getting under it. But otherwise, these 2 solar panels, they're perfect. And I'm pleased with what I did here and went with this option as opposed to putting them on the roof. And then we're going to talk about the wiring here, and we're going to get into back on the inside. So we ran these cables, these solar cable with the MC4 connectors to a V connector so we can connect 2 of them together. Zip tied all that stuff under here so it's out of the weather. Ran MC4 connectors through the roof entry. This is all waterproof. You guys know what these things are. This is the only penetration into the roof that I have. And I'm glad that I was only just one thing going into the roof. So this thing worked great. MC4, everything worked great. Let's go on the inside. All right, so after we come in through the roof penetration here, I come down through, and the first thing we hit is the Victron MPPT 130 solar controller. Go into that on one side, come out on the other side to the batteries. But before that, I'm going through a 40-watt breaker, and then that will eventually go into a rotary switch. And I'll explain that rotary switch in a minute. On this side, I have the Victron Blue Smart Charger. This is for shore power. I have a shore power 20 amp in on that side, which is stock. It's one of the only things left from the original Hiker Electric. That power runs in here. Again, powers this, goes through another 40 amp breaker. So each of these have a 40 amp breaker. They both come down here, Angel. I have it on a marine rotary switch. I wasn't 100% sure when I was building this what components I was going to use. So I was concerned that if I had to use either solar or shore power, and whether or not they both can be on at the same time. And what is great about the Victron stuff is that they communicate to each other. There's an app and you can see what's going on. One takes over when the other one isn't working. So I have it set so I can turn the power completely off. I can set it so it's just solar, which is on this side, just shore power on this side, or basically I keep it on 1 and 2. So they're both taking care of the work by themselves. They're figuring it out on their own, and I will show you that on the app. So that power, all now that went through here, all my positive back to here, negative to the frame, negative up there. Now all this goes back up to the bus bar and the fuse block. Now originally, Hiker had a separate bus bar and a separate fuse block. They were okay, but I happened to have one from the original owners. They put one in just to run a light in the front. And this was so much nicer than the one that came with the Hiker. I decided to go with that. So if you look in here, we have the bus bar with the fuse block all together. And everything is run from here. Right now I still have 3 open circuits, so I can add more stuff, which we're going to be adding some external electric, 12 volt, and some extra lighting and stuff. All right, so we can leave that fuse block. I've come under here. If you could see it, there's a small double 12 volt connector that runs the fridge. That's fused as well. Of course, I have to ignore the painter's tape. I still have to put it in a loom and lock it in there. That's that. And then if we go into the cabin again, I'll go on the other side. We go into the cabin here. We have the original. This isn't the Max Air fan. This is the Dometic one. My Fast Fan or Fantastic or something like that. This thing works great. I love it. So we have the lights for the fan. We have the fan itself. When the fan come on, I think because you turned off here. There we go. Fan. This is the original power supply here with the voltage meter. Came with the original. This is the 12 volt cigarette lighter port. And I changed this to USB-C. More power delivery for my iPad. Also added these in the back. I think I got both of these for like 20 bucks on Amazon. Love them. Hold a button down, dims it, and it comes back when it gets to the bottom of the cycle and comes back and gets brighter. I think there's also a way to change the color temp. It has USB ports in here, which is great at night and charging my phone while I'm sleeping. And as I mentioned in my previous video, when I'm sleeping or my wife is sleeping, we both wear glasses because we're blind. This is great because this is rubber coated. I just throw my glasses up there. And they're within reach in the morning and middle of the night, whatever. So that's pretty much all of the electric upgrades. And then I'm probably going to think of something that I forgot, and then we'll just kind of put that in, and who knows. All right, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the apps that came with these. I know Watt Cycle is kind of considered a third-party kind of battery company, but I am extremely pleased with them. And the app, I love the app. I don't know if you can see it here. Does that focus?
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna allow it to connect Bluetooth. Goes up. You can see the battery's at 99% power. It really doesn't need a charge at the moment. There's no draw on it. Oh, that's at 100%. There's no draw on it right now. There's no load. And there's really no power going to it. However, what's also nice is that Victron's app, Victron Connect, will control both of these units in here. And what's great about this, and I had mentioned before, is that they're both allowed to charge the battery. And both of them figure out, okay, we have sun, use the sun, it's free. Oh, we don't have sun, use the shore power. So with that, this is the Victron Connect app. This is the solar controller, this bottom one. And it will show me that it's only using 1 watt of power, which means the battery is completely full and it doesn't really need to use any power from solar at this point. And as you can see, in the past few days, I've had no need to charge the battery because the battery's full. And you can see if we go back on days when I use the battery and it's charging it, you can see what it's doing history-wise. But at the same time, then we can see we have the AC DC controller that has its own app as well. And that one is in absorption charge at the moment. It's telling me the voltage of the battery is 14.42, which is normal for a lithium iron phosphate. And the current that's actually outputting is 1.1 amps. That's probably because we have some lights on. So that's nothing. So that battery would run 100 hours with what we have on. And like I said, between the two, between both of these, they're doing all the math and figuring it all out. If I have an issue with one, I can use that rotary switch, just go solar, just go shore power. And that's probably what's going to happen. When I'm shore power, I'm plugged into shore power. I don't really need the power from the electric because I'm getting all I need from shore power. I'll just turn that dial so it's just shore power. But if I'm in a situation like here, I'm home and I just want to top off the batteries, typically the solar is going to do it. But it doesn't hurt to have it plugged in the shore power, especially if I'm doing more stuff and I have more stuff turned on. But otherwise, I love it. That's great. That whole system, I can't rave about it enough. And so the last thing I want to talk about is efficiency of this whole system. I have 200 watts of solar on the roof. So in ideal conditions, I'm generating 200 watts per hour. So that's 4 or 5 hours a day. I'm doing a kilowatt a day. I've had this thing put out 250 watts. I don't know how. I have it, at least that's what the app is telling me. So 200 watts of power on the roof. I have 100 amp hours in that one battery. I expect to put a second one once they go on sale again. We'll have 200 amp hours. But with what we have right now, we went on our initial excursion, which I'll get into that in another video, where we used this fridge, plugged in the whole entire time, lights on, fans on, charging phones, charging iPads. And we were in a wooded area we weren't getting great sun except for maybe an hour. When we left that campsite after 2 days, we still had 60% of our power. On the ride home, we were back up to 100. So I'm satisfied knowing that the 100 will hold out for this fridge. But when we get 200, man, we should be good for a week or more. Yeah, it works exactly how I want it to. So if you have any questions or comments, please reach out. I'm happy to answer them. It's just one of the things I love doing, and I'm happy to answer your questions. So until the next video, hang in there.